Page 25. So today we're going to do multiply and divide fractions. So page 25, number 1, quickly, just to explain why 3 times a half is the same as that. When you have a whole number, an integer, when you have an integer times a fraction, you only times it to the top. Okay, so you only times it to the numerator. Denominator stays the same. So that's why 3 times the 1, you get the 3, and then denominator stays the same as 2. Similarly, actually not similarly, the oppositely, is that even a word, oppositely? Oh. Alright, well, explain why when you 3 divided by 1/4 is equal to that. Remember what we said with actually, no, I didn't say it with this class. KFC. Okay, not really KFC, because KC. Right. Perfect. Right. So you keep the first, you change the sign. So instead of divide, we times, and then we flip the 1/4. So when we flip that fraction 1/4, it becomes 4/1. Okay, and so that's the same thing as just 3 times 4, which is 12. Okay, if you know how to divide fractions, you know how to multiply fractions. So let's try this one right here. So as we said, keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep the first fraction, -5/6. Change the sign, and then flip the second fraction. So instead of 4/3, it's 3/4. Okay. When you multiply fractions, you are just multiplying across, numerator with numerator, denominator with denominator. So in this case, you get -15/24. Is this a good answer? Is there a better answer? Yeah, Sophia, what? -5/8. Right, okay, so after you multiply and divide, you do have to make sure you simplify. 3. 3 actually goes into both 15 and 24. So this reduces down to this. If you leave this as your final answer on the test, you will lose half a mark. You won't lose everything, but you'll lose half a mark because you forgot to reduce. Okay? Let's try this one. Okay, so this one right here, number 16, involves both multiplying and dividing. Determine the area of the triangle on the right. Okay, so actually, let me do it on a separate piece of paper. Okay, what's the formula again for area of a triangle? Base height over 2. Right, base times height divided by 2. So base times height, base is 2 3/4. Height is 4 3/8. And everything divided by 2. Right? Oops. Okay. So, first thing, just like what we did yesterday, we have to change these to an improper fraction. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 3, 11. So 11/4. Okay. And then 4 times 8, 32. 32 plus 3, 35. So 35/8. Okay. Now I'm gonna, again, a fraction times another fraction, which means I'm just multiplying the top with the top, bottom with the bottom. So 11 times 35, I get 385. And then 4 times 8, I get 32. All this over 2. Okay, so far I only dealt with my numerator. Notice how messy this looks right here when you have a fraction over another fraction. Well, this, I could rewrite this as 385 over 32 divided by 2. This is the exact same thing as this. Right? This looks much nicer, and you probably know what to do next with this. So 385 over 32. Remember KFC or KCF? Keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep my first fraction, change the sign, and flip. When I flip the 2, it becomes, yeah, 1 over 2. Okay. This step, some of you might see this step from this step already, but writing this extra step out, make sure that you know to times the 2 to the denominator, not to the 385. A lot of people make the silly mistake of multiplying it to the top instead. Okay? So you have 385 over 64. Okay? If you leave your answer like this, you will lose the mark because it's not in mixed number form. So long division, 64 goes into 385. How many times? 385 divided by 64. It goes in 6 times. So 64 times 6, you get 384. So you get a remainder of 1. So who can tell me my final answer? Final answer. Max.
6 and 1 over 64.
Good job. Okay. Remember, this was a word problem to start with. Not so much of a word problem, but this was the question. Determine the area of the triangle on the right. So what is my unit?
Inches squared.
Right. Square inches. Okay. So from here, if this was your final answer, you would have lost a mark for not changing it back to a mixed number. And if this is your final answer, you would have lost half a mark for not writing the unit. Okay? So think about it. A question like this, you did all the hard work, you did all the calculations, but then at the end, if you forget to put it back in the right form and with the right unit, you lose 1.5 marks. That's not good. Those should be easy marks to get. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Let's do page 27, number 21. 21G. All right, page 27, 21G. Okay, so this one, again, first step you want to do is change it to improper fraction. So 3, this is an improper. Let's see. So Yan, can you help me with this one? Changing it into an improper fraction. 7 over 2. Don't forget that negative. So negative 7 over 2. Good. All right. Your exponent is 4. If I were to write this out in full, this means negative 7 over 2 times negative 7 over 2 times negative 7 over 2 times negative 7 over 2. So notice I am applying the exponent to the numerator and to the denominator. So is my answer going to be positive or negative? Positive, because I have an even number of negatives. So 7 to the power of 4 is, I don't know that off the top of my head. 7 to the 4. 2,401. And 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, what's that? This you should be able to do in your head. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Right, 16. All right. And then changing it back to a mixed number. 2401. So 2401 divided by 16, you get 150. It goes in 150 times. So 150 times 16, 2,400, with a remainder of 1. So your final answer here, 150 and then 116. Okay. So the key to this example is, remember, your exponent applies to everything in the numerator and to the denominator. Okay, one last one. I'm going to get you guys to try this one, the hardest one, and then we'll take this one up. Again, I think that if you guys can do the hardest question, that means the easier questions you should have no problem with. Okay, so let's see if you guys can do this one. This is number 22G. 22G. Okay, take a couple of minutes, try this one, and then we're going to take it up. All right, so let's see if we got the same thing. So my first step was to change it to an improper fraction. Okay, after that, BEDMAS tells me to do brackets first. So that means I need a lowest common denominator to subtract these. So between 4 and 3, it's 12. Right, so 4 times 3 gives me 12. So 7 times 3 gives me 21. 3 times 4 is 12. So 20 times 4 gives me 80. Okay, subtract that, I get negative 59 over 12. Already I see that my number is going to get ugly because 59 squared is going to get to a big number, and I can't reduce this. So then when I square it, negative 59 squared is positive 3481. 12 squared is 144. Notice I haven't done anything with this or this. Okay, and that's because BEDMAS. Do the brackets first. Okay, so now fraction times another fraction means I just multiply numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator. Okay, and then here, from again, I'm adding fractions, so I need lowest common denominator. Here's a little better. The lowest common denominator between them is 432. Okay, so I have to times this whole fraction by 12. This, since it's already over 432, I don't change anything. So I just leave it. Times this whole fraction by 12. So I get that. Now I can add my numerator together, and I get this. Long division, it goes in 7 times with a remainder of 157. So this is my final answer. How many of you got that? 1? Uh-oh. Okay, good job, Sophia. Feel proud of yourself. Okay, but I think with you guys, I know that you guys understand the steps. Careless mistakes then. If as soon as you make a silly mistake somewhere, like for example, didn't carry the negative, it would change your answer. Didn't square the denominator, it would change your whole answer. So be careful with these. Remember the little trick that I taught you is when you do this on the calculator, you'll get like negative 7.3, something like that. Go back to here, punch all this into your calculator, see if you get the same answer as a decimal. If you do, you know you did it correctly. If you're way off, you know you made a mistake, and you can go back to check your work to see where you made the mistake. Okay, so let's do some practice then. So page 20. 5 to 28. So your homework tonight, page 25 to 28, which means tomorrow when I do homework check, I'm checking page 1 to 28, making sure that you guys did do homework daily. Okay, up to 28. Again, I don't need every single question answered, but at least don't show me that you skip like a whole page. Okay.